Indiana Jones in the Dial of Destiny movie review. This is a film I was not asking for, but was interested to see how they were going to do the film. And I will say this, it surprised me. That's right. This film surprised me. But not for the reasons you may think or believe. The Dial of Destiny. When the film takes place, it's basically continuing a story that from a past adventure of Indiana Jones back during the war against the Nazis, and you're right, no one pretty much understood what was going on in the scenarios whatsoever. So Indiana Jones is once again on a mission, but it's one of those situations where you're watching it and you almost can't believe what's happening sometimes. But the beginning of this film is a lot, I would say, it was more resemblant of Indiana Jones when it first started. This is an older generation of movie, like from the 80s. So the action scene plays out like almost like a Charlie Chaplin or a silent movie. If you guys remember silent films. Now, so the Dial of Destiny starts off the way it was supposed to, in my opinion. The Dial of Destiny went and showed a very good CGI job of Harrison Ford when they younged him down. They have really improved this CGI by not showing his teeth, which would really reveal and make it look a little choppy. They did a great job in making Indiana Jones look very young. Just like his Raider of the Ark, or the Lost Ark days. They did a very good job of doing it. Yeah, I was proud of him for doing that. That had to be very expensive, and to hold that for that long, that scene and that action, when this movie first started, I was like, oh man, the train scene was amazing. That was Indiana Jones. Then it goes to current date, where he's this burnt out old man who's retiring from teaching and being a professor. And then his goddaughter shows up. She wants to know about the dial that he got on the train. Did he still have it? So she gives it to him, and the adventure begins. He meets Jürgen Voller, a Nazi that he met and who he got the dial from originally. Indy remembers him, and the adventure begins. They want the dial, they chase the dial, they all out the dial. So The Adventure for the Dial of Destiny. But of course, Indy only has one half, so there's another half that's missing and no one knows where it is. And miraculously, this movie starts and everybody seems to know where it is. It's the it's like a weird thing that happened. The movie takes off and it's going at a rate that's like, okay, this is good. I like this. Then you get a female lead in there who you can't stand. She shows up. Then it all started going to hell. And I said, oh no. Then it becomes like I'm shooting everybody in sight, but I'm going to stop every time I see you. Harrison Ford, for some reason, when they have him dead to rights, they won't shoot him, but they'll shoot anybody else. And they act like they need him, and then they don't need him, and we're right back in the same boat all over again. And it just happened so many times. Then they have a new short round. A new short round seems to always put himself in bad situations. But everyone nowadays just hate everything. So that's the whole key. Everybody's going to say, I hate this Indiana Jones. And this Indiana Jones was not something that you should hate. It really isn't. Is it better than the Crystal Skull? I don't know. They're not better than the first three. Okay, Crystal Skull and this one, Dial of Destiny, are fighting amongst each other to see which one is going to fit in or be above the rest. I'll have to watch Crystal Skull again to really make that observation. But I know I didn't hate Crystal Skull like everyone else did. There were a couple of scenes I didn't like. The ant scene, I thought was a little over the top. I felt The Last Crusade should have been the last Indiana Jones. That to me was a perfect ending to Indiana Jones saga. But it's like they don't know how to end it. And in this film, once again, it was a touching ending, but I'll let you see it for yourself. Well, the thing is that Indiana Jones on this mission, like some of the action scenes were used up pretty early, then everything else, it turned into the Goonies at one point, and I'm like, okay, now this has turned into Goonies. And Short Round was in that one. We saw Raiders, but we really didn't understand Raiders. We were too young. Temple of Doom scared the living hell out of us. And so the Last Crusade, that was the one that everybody kind of like remember. They were old enough then to remember it. But at that time, that type of period of film, it was over. Because Indiana Jones was always told at a different point in time. That was not our timeline. Like, it was years behind. And archaeology adventures have always been the staple in films anyway, because they're supposed to keep your attention span and you're supposed to be focused on it. And it's certain things that work, and then they get off point and just start going, you know, down I think a path that I just don't like. Like the whole chase scene outside of this like black market antique place where they just pawn great artifacts. Like when they were there, I found that every scene in there to be just obnoxious and ridiculous, from the ex-boyfriend showing up with a machete, and then all of a sudden he wants to shoot the girl he loves. That was just bad, bad, bad. All of that scene could have been on an editing room floor. It was stupid. And they just needed a chase scene, and then her character is very unlikable. I think she was put in here to be like that early on and then to be likable near the end. But she was very much unlikable for a long part of the movie. I still didn't like her when the movie ended. I was through with her probably 10 minutes of her character being on screen. And then I'm like, I got to be stuck with her for the long haul. And boy, was it a long haul. This movie is about 30 to 40 minutes too long. And there's a lot they could have cut. Like that scene there, what I'm talking about, that could have been cut. I mean, it's a lot of repetitiveness through these scenes. It's like they chase Indy, they catch Indy, they lose Indy. They catch Indy, they they catch Indy again, they lose Indy. It's like, what are you actually doing here? And the guy's like, bring him with us. Then why did you shoot him? You're shooting at him, and it's like, okay, you're shooting at him. Then, you got him dead to rights. Then said, all right, you're coming with us. Then what you shooting at him for? What? That's what I'm saying. If all you're going to do is take him with you, and you're killing everybody else, but when it gets to Indiana Jones, be like, well, he's the star. You got to see this, Dr. Jones. You're coming with us. They just shoot everybody else and say, okay, well, these two is cool. We keep them around. I say, I understood it when you needed something from them. Now, when you have everything you need, it's like, okay, we got everything we need. Well, let's keep Indiana Jones alive anyway. It's like what you doing that for? You're only gonna bring the only thing that want to stop you with you. Where does that make sense? And somebody who's never been behind the gears of a plane could fly a plane. All because he pretended like he was doing it, because he learned it from pilots who's telling him, okay, you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that, and he's never been inside of a plane. But new short round can get it done. So I think the ending scene, that that's where it lost me. But it was fun going back in the beginning, watching old Indiana Jones type moments. Those were good. Just like in part four, the beginning was great. I remember that, and the part four reminded me a lot of Indiana Jones. Then they started this thing that wasn't Indiana Jones. And it was a reunion. It was entirely different, bonding with the son. And at that time, Shia LaBeouf was a big star, and they were highlighting him because he was supposed to take over the role of Indiana Jones, and he was going to have his own adventures. That's what was supposed to happen. But that got derailed because the movie was very poorly received, and he came out and bashed the movie, bashed the direction, bashed everybody who produced the film. And boy, Harrison Ford's like, this kid just don't get it. Like, okay, calm down, kid. You're killing us. You're killing yourself. Now, do you realize that these people make other movies that they might want to put you in? Like, this kid doesn't get it. He thinks he's helping himself because he's agreeing with the people. It's just not going to go well for you. No, the movie don't suck. That's one thing about it. It doesn't suck. Um, it's just not what they thought it was. Mm, yeah. Well, I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan. Like, National Treasure is the new age Indiana Jones. Now, with Nicolas Cage, he was the new age Indiana Jones, and people are waiting for that National Treasure movie. It's supposed to have you intrigued to follow the story and the pieces and the clues. And I think this would have been better had it been more like a trail, like a scavenger hunt type of movie, instead of them going, they had one piece and then all of a sudden nobody could find the piece. And it's like the second piece is just no one knows where it is. Could nobody find this thing for 2,000 years, and it only took like 30 minutes for them to find it. Like, no, like it was nothing for them to find it after all these years of looking. They made it too easy to find. And that's why I'm like, wow, this was pretty easy to find. Like you never really got the sense of that danger and adventure. It just was, it just missed. It's a watchable film, but you're gonna notice the pacing issues and how long it is. You're gonna notice that by the time it gets to the last act. You're gonna feel like, man, this movie's long. So you're not gonna be vested into the movie when it's getting near its climax where it should be picking up and elevating. You're just waiting to see what happens, and you're not. To me, that's not how you land the plane. In other words, I think could have been executed a lot better near the ending. They have a little small callback to Temple of Doom. Um, that was funny, but somebody asked a question earlier. Did they omit King the Crystal Skull? No, they did not omit Crystal Skull. I'll let you watch the rest of the movie and see the connection with Crystal Skull in this movie. But they did not omit that. Do I think he's gonna make another one? Well, we'll wait and see how it goes, because he might didn't survive this one. So you gotta wait and see. Now, what is this dial of destiny? What is it about? Well, this dial that was made from an old Italian architect who won a war in like the 1800s or something against Rome, designed a weapon to use the sun to burn the ships into position, capture the rays of the sun, and use it as a weapon to burn the ships of the Romans. Like he would use a giant magnifying glass, and he had this dial, and it was says he can go back in time. If he could put this dial together and control it, it could turn back the hands of time, and he can go back and do things and travel through time. Well, yeah, I didn't see it that way though. This dial's supposed to, you can go back in time, and of course, Nazi wanted to go back in time and change the war. You know. I haven't seen not one episode of Secret Invasion yet. But now that there's 2 episodes down, I might get started tonight. I gotta update the Patreon tonight, and then I'll be free to do that. Well, it only takes 14 weeks to torpedo something. Well, they didn't like the crystal skulls because of the ending with the aliens.
Aliens. Have you seen Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? Spoiler alert for everybody. You can stop now if you don't want to hear this. At the end of the movie, the Crystal Skulls are aliens. It's ridiculous. This is so strange. Yeah. So I interviewed Harrison Ford for a different movie, and I said, Harrison, do you think you'd ever do an Indiana Jones 5? Harrison Ford speaks like so lowly. He's like, well, it took us this long to do this movie. I don't know. I'd love to do it. It's just a matter of time. I said, well, Harrison, if you do another one, can you promise me there won't be aliens? He looks around the room. I'm like, oh no, I'm never going to do another interview again. He leans in and I'm like, oh no. And he goes, just between you and me, I think I can. And I went, oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Harrison.
Just between you and me, I think I can.
Thank you, Harrison.
Thank you. If you do another one, can you promise me there won't be aliens?
Everybody was upset because they were aliens. I have no idea why. He has, I guess because it didn't go with biblical facts or something biblical. And whenever you are not a part of something biblical or something that's like earthbound, but so is aliens though. Aliens are what they are. I mean, that's part of Earth's history. So why all of a sudden an archaeologist studying aliens just drove the fans of Indiana Jones insane? Yeah, so anyhow, let me get to work here. So I can finish. I'll give it 2.5 stars out of 4 for Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny. Yeah, I'll watch it again, but like on cable. I do watch it once. I don't see anybody really running back to watch it again. You'll wait for cable. And you'll be entertained, and then you'll get bored when it gets just continuously is going on. You're not really vested too much. You kind of know how this is going to go, and it kind of take a cheap route near ending, but yeah, I still don't like the way they transitioned to the final act. It just blew my mind. So I'll wait till people get a chance to see it before we'll talk about it more on like a spoiler review or something. It's nothing really to spoil, but yeah, we'll do it there. All right, I'm out. Thank you for supporting the Screen Fiend, and I'm done.